there's a couple of prairie dogs. We're at my brother's place, and there's prairie dogs out here in the front yard. And she sees them. Oh yeah, she sees them. Look at her shaking.
Look, the prairie dog sees her. Look, the prairie dog sees her.
Oh, the prairie dog sees her now. On this side of the road too. Look at that. This is the most full I've ever seen it. Saw it close to this back in the 90s. But that is full. I mean, that is freaking full. Man. Crazy. Welcome back, everybody. So I just wanted to take a minute and make a video, and for one, I'd like to thank everybody for their kind words and response to the owl dying here on the property the other day. So just to give you all a little bit of context of basically the chain of events was, I was sitting in the car one afternoon, kind of late in the afternoon, and I saw the owl land in the tree. And I got out and took some pictures, and then it flew away. And then it came back about 20 minutes later, and it stayed there for about another hour and a half, and I managed to take pictures of it the second time. And then I didn't see it again. I then saw the owl the very next morning at like 5:45 in the morning, and that was that clip at the very beginning of the last video showing it flying over my head in the real early morning hours. And it looked perfectly healthy. I saw it sitting up in the tree for about 4 or 5 minutes before it flew away, and it looked like it was just sitting there hunting. And when it flew away, it looked completely normal. The very next morning at same thing, right around 6 a.m., that's when I saw it fall out of the tree, and it kind of broke its fall with one of its wings. So I sat there and watched it out the window for about a half hour, and it was, for the most part, it was just kind of sitting there, kind of puffed up, and I thought maybe it just, was not feeling well or whatever, and it was resting on the ground. It seemed like it was okay, so I didn't want to go out there and mess with it. And then after about a half hour, around 6:30, I noticed that's when it slumped over. So I went out there and I took the first video of it. And by that time I had already been on the internet researching everything I could. The closest raptor rescue is in Cave Creek, Arizona, almost 5-hour drive away minimum. And this is 6:30 in the morning on a Sunday. There's nobody I can call, Even so, we have a local RV park here where we live called Nomad Ranch, and they actually have raptor birds, and the owner is a handler of raptors, and he actually has pet owls, and I believe he has some falcons and some other stuff. So my plan was, when they opened at 8 a.m. was to call them and see what I could do, and then contact the rescue. That's if it was still alive. So basically, I did some checking on the internet, kept watching it, and then I noticed it was about 7 o'clock, is when it kind of set up and opened its wings up and then fell over on its back. And then that's when I went out and took the video the second time. And then that's when I was really considering trying to do something. So basically, when Sue came back out with me and I was going to show her what was going on, after I had been doing about a half hour of research on the internet, and it's about 7 a.m., that's when it basically died. It made it, maybe from the very first time I saw it until it was dead, was probably an hour and 15 minutes. So it all happened really quickly. And I don't have any experience with handling large predatory birds, raptors, that have a reach like this, about this big, with super sharp talons that can shred, an inch deep through your flesh with just one swipe. Their beak is so sharp. I have seen evidence where one of those great horned owls snapped a pack rat in half. It looked like it used a cleaver. That was its beak. I'm not in a big hurry to go up to a wounded or dying animal and put my hands on it, especially when it's got, if it had have lived, my plan was, if I saw it sitting there for a couple of hours not doing well and it got to the point where I could approach it, then maybe I had seen, I had looked up information on one of the rescue sites that said, to wrap it up in a towel and then put it into a box. And I thought about doing that before I noticed it actually die. But my thought was this, that if it's in the process of dying and I go up and scoop it up and wrap it in a towel and then put it into a box, I'm going to cause it a lot of trauma. I'm going to cause it fear, which is going to have adrenaline and fear coursing through its bloodstream before it dies. And I wasn't sure if that was the right thing to do. I mean, there's times when you can help and you can cause a lot more damage than not. It was clear to me by how quick it was going that the animal was dying. And it's not my place to get in the way of that. So to be honest, I stayed back. The animal actually never had any real acknowledgement that I was there. And here's another thing that I feel good about. It died with its eyes closed. Usually animals that die suddenly or in extreme pain and things, a lot of times they die with their eyes open. So, especially if an animal dies with fear, I guarantee you if I had put it into a dark cardboard box, I would have found it in there dead with its eyes wide open. It would have died afraid. So at least it got to die of its own natural causes without anybody messing with it. And then as far as what it died from, I'm pretty sure that it died from the impact into the left eye. I had a chance to look at it real good, and it looked like it had a puncture that went about 3/4 of the way through the retina. It looked like it was poked with like a stick or something, probably when it was in flight. And there was a lot of white and kind of greenish goopy pus all around the eye, and then up kind of like a leaky wound up on the top above the eye. So at the very least, I think that was infected, and it was also fairly light. I read up that an owl that size should have been about 3 or 4 pounds, and I'd say he was probably about 1.5 pounds. So chances are he was probably having a hard time eating. I don't think it died from the bird flu. Some people are saying that. We have a lot of birds on this property. I mean, a lot. And I have noticed absolutely no dead birds anywhere. I have noticed no strange behavior with the birds. I have noticed no sicknesses or illnesses, honestly, with any of the animals out here on the property. In fact, most of the rodents I get out of my traps, they look like they came from a pet store. Their fur is in perfect condition. It looks like it's been groomed. All of the pack rats I find are obese. The rabbits out here are very well fed. So nothing, I don't think, at this current time has any diseases. But I hope that gives everybody maybe that had any questions about, maybe why I didn't try to intervene or save the bird. It was in my plan, but when the whole thing elapses in less than an hour, I wasn't going to scoop up and traumatize the bird. I was still in the process of looking up information and coming up with a plan when it actually died. If I had gone up and tried to mess with that bird at first, it was still conscious and aware, and it was moving around. It probably would have attacked me. The spot where it landed on the ground, it was cornered. Any way I approached that animal, it was cornered. And, I'm not a wildlife expert, but I've been around wildlife long enough throughout my lifetime to know that you do not approach a wounded or dying animal, especially when it's cornered. That's how you get attacked. It happens to a lot of people. A lot of people trying to do good end up attacked because they really don't know what they're doing. Because of the laws, it's a felony to possess any of the feathers. It's a felony to possess the body. So I just wanted to bury it. Plus, I didn't know what it died from. I figured it's better to bury it. I didn't let either one of my dogs near it. And if y'all are worried, we still have plenty of owls out here. I've already, since he was gone, I've already heard a couple more owls in the morning. I'm pretty sure we had 2, possibly 3 here on the property. So this might have been the offspring of a pair that actually live here. So thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I really appreciate each and every one of you that takes the time to watch my videos.